Hello friends, this is Coldrun. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. We're here starting a fade out in the Unsundered World, the rustling of murderous leaves. A monstrous variety of Ignorant has set upon a researcher who meant to observe them. Bring your woodcutter's axe to bear and get to hacking. Okay. So we're helping kill the observations of research. You know, it hits me. This is a new type of fate, isn't it? This is a boss fate, but there's 3 mini-bosses. Is this the first time they've ever done this in the game? I think it might be. On the other hand, I haven't done fates that much, so I could also be 100% wrong. Alright, continuing with the main story questline here. With lives apart. Composure regained, Hermes is ready to return to his duties. If everyone is ready, there are a few creatures I need to check on first. First, we shall return to the spot where we found our wayward ambystoma. Have care when you step outside a hub, for there may be more unruly creatures about. Okay. Back at Philomatheth's Notos. Alright, Emet-Selch. All vim and vigor now. When we were discussing his nomination, he was melancholy incarnate. Yeah, he was thinking about the death of the friend. Now he's thinking about butterflies, so. Hythlodeus. Yes, the Eanthine Petaluda, one of the newest species of the ever-popular butterfly. You're still bothered about your robe? Don't be. The few specimens we repurposed won't be missed. Yeah, I'm wearing basically a butterfly skin robe, aren't I? Medion. So, beautiful, Petaluda. I hope they make it into the world. I think they'll be okay. I think they will, at least, unless this is a different... I actually don't know about if they will. Maybe it turns out that the Petaluda specifically are defined by their love of musical theater, and only the butterflies that don't like musical theaters made it into the world. Hermes. This here is a new species of Petaluda we recently set loose. It has been doing very well, managing to maintain a stable existence thus far. It can see if it can see its observation period to the end without issue, we shall release it unto the world. Tell me, do you know the difference between living beings and arcane entities? I'm guessing it has something to do with what we learned back in Charlian, that like one is made up of a physical type of ether, the other maybe is made up of that celestial ether. I don't know. It is the presence of a soul. Oh, never mind. Yet the soul isn't something you can choose to have at will. No, it manifests in those beings whose forms adhere to the laws of creation. That can endure on their own. So a soul manifests... This feels like an important sentence. A soul manifests in those beings whose forms adhere to the laws of creation. It feels like an important sentence because, again, the goal here is to find out why the final days are coming about, what it is that is making the laws of the laws of this world unravel. And he's saying that, so maybe someone tried to create a being, to infuse a soul, and this feels very Undertale-y with Flowey and all, but maybe someone tried to infuse a soul into a creature that went against the laws of nature, and that had some kind of cascade effect. Beings that do not fulfill this requirement, such as those that spontaneously born of magic or natural phenomena, do not have souls. Oh. Those spontaneously born of magic or natural phenomena do not have souls. Wait, so does a dog have a soul? Because that's born of natural phenomena. I guess I don't understand that part, but it's also in accordance with the laws of nature. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused on this. No matter how much it might resemble flora or fauna, if it lacks a soul, then it is considered an arcane entity. Okay, no, so it sounds like... No, dogs... So in this case, dogs do have souls, but if someone just creates a dog out of thin air, then it doesn't have a soul. But I don't really understand this. So you see, it is not for mankind to decide what is living. That domain lies beyond our manipulation, and it is hubris to assume otherwise. So you can only make stuff and hope that it turns out to be living if it aligns with the laws of nature. And if you fuck up, it doesn't have a soul and you're out of luck. But come, let us head to the nearby beacon. I've received a report that arcane entities have gathered there. I'm going to have to take some time to mentally process that whole arcane versus non-arcane thing, because, again, it's complex because I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around what it actually means. And it sounds important. Let me just take one more look at it. Do you know the difference between living beings and arcane entities? The presence of a soul. The soul isn't something you can choose to have at will. Okay, so the soul is not even one of the ancients cannot choose whether something has a soul or not. Got it. It manifests only in those beings whose forms adhere to the laws of creation that can endure on their own. So if it's a being that can exist outside of your creation, then... Because the question is, what are the laws of creation that you have to adhere to? And that's a little bit unclear to me. So if you create something, like let's say you make this butterfly, and it turns out that it exists well on its own, like it exists within the cycle of nature, then are you saying that it turns out that it gains a soul once it proves that? Or, no, that wouldn't make sense. It must have had once it lasts long enough, then it proves that doing so proves that it had a soul all along. But if it doesn't adhere to the laws of nature and it can't endure on its own, like let's say that it was only sustained by the magic of the creator's conscious will, and once they went to sleep and were no longer casting the spell, it dissipated. It wouldn't have a soul. That makes sense. But what if there's a creature that goes extinct? The dodo lasts for a while, and then eventually the dodo can no longer last. Does the dodo lose the soul because it can no longer survive on its own? But I guess at that point it's not enduring on its own, but it's still adhering to the laws of creation. It's that laws of creation term that's stumping me. Beings that do not fulfill this requirement, such as those spontaneously born of magic, or I'm presuming spontaneously carries over, or spontaneously born of natural phenomena. I don't know what a being spontaneously born of natural phenomena that doesn't looks like if it doesn't. I don't know what an example of a being is that is both A, spontaneously born of natural phenomena, and B, adheres to the laws of creation. Or no, and B, does not adhere to the laws of creation. I don't know what that looks like. It might resemble a flora and fauna, but it lacks a soul, then it's considered an arcane entity. So if it's spontaneously born of natural phenomena, it's still considered an arcane entity. I'm curious, because I don't think it's super clear there. I don't think there's just some super obvious answer, because they don't spell out what the laws of creation mean. At least not yet. Emet-Selch. We're meant to be observing Hermes, but instead we're stuck with Medion. Hey, you're lucky to be blessed by Medion's presence. Well, I suppose she herself serves as proof of his prowess as a researcher and creator both. Yet does Medion have a soul? Again, we don't know what the laws of creation are, so we don't know for sure. Hythlodeus. A fascinating creation, much like yourself, little one. Renowned as Hermes is for his flying life forms, it is a rare privilege to see one of his works in progress. Medion. Interesting. You're interesting too. Tell me, how did you find the amistoma? They were super cute. But you're not asking me. You're asking Hythlodeus. Or you're asking Pigeon. I'm not sure which right now. So you're making elemental sprites. I guess an elemental sprite is formed spontaneously of natural phenomena. Maybe that's what you're talking about, Hermes. Ah yes, lightning pneuma, just as the report said. Although we call this structure a beacon due to its form... Oh, this thing. It is in fact a magical device. By manipulating the balance of elements, it keeps the Lyle airborne and maintains the climate thereupon. In the course of its operation, it sees an internal shift towards a given element. In the course of its operation, it sees an internal shift towards a given element. So it becomes like lightning attuned. Right now that element is lightning, which draws the Numa here to replenish their ether. Makes sense? It appears Medion is busy. Yeah, she's busy questioning Hythlodaeus. Would you care to assist me in her stead and feed the Numa? By using this lightning converger, you can harness ambient lightning and focus it into a ball. A veritable feast for our dazzling friends. Go on, give it a try. Okay. Yeah, let's give it a snack. Lightning converger. Using this concept of crystal, anyone can see the cat's tail that is in front of my screen and has to get out. Pigeon, can you move? Thank you. Anyone can harness lightning regardless of spellcasting skill. Alright, we'll dump it there. Target missed. Okay. Oh, I guess I have to target the... No. Maybe I have to actually target the thing? No, I can't target it. Huh. Oh, do I have to target the destination maybe then? Yeah, okay. Lightning Converger to create ball lightning. A very fun magic card. Pigeon, you're right in the screen again, dude. Okay, you can stay there, I guess. Hermes. Perfectly done. Kukushu, look. Oh yeah! It's like orange juice to kids at soccer practice. See how they gather to feed, how they express themselves through their actions despite their lack of words? Yes, I do. Speech is not the sole defining characteristic of a thinking, feeling creature, nor is silence an indication that they do not possess these qualities. And we learn that even from Medion, because Medion is able to basically communicate with creatures that cannot speak. Emotional communication. Be it a soulless arcane entity such as the Numa, or an ephemeral life form such as the Petaluda. All seek to perpetuate their existence, to survive. That makes me even more confused by his definition of a creature without a soul being something that can't exist on its own, because these can clearly like find sustenance and exist. So I don't understand. I won't think on it too much more until they... Is Medion an arcane entity, a living being? Yeah, this is hopefully this will clarify it. Is Medion a living being? I mean, she certainly appears to be, by all common definitions of it. A good question. I can answer it from a theoretical standpoint, but it ultimately falls to the Bureau of the Architect to pass judgment. So if the Bureau of the Architect says the answer is no, do they just put Medion like into the recycling bin? Those with exceptional vision, such as Hythlodaeus, may be able to ascertain her true nature. But to me it doesn't matter. She is herself, and that is all I need to know. Good, good, yes. That's the correct viewpoint, because whether she has a soul or not is almost academic. Like, she's clearly sentient. She's not just a well-programmed automata. She's clearly... And that's... I don't know. This is more philosophical than I was expecting this session to go. Medion. Oh, you've finished early. I'm sorry, I was in the way. Hermes. Not to worry, my dear. They missed nothing of note, and we still have plenty of work for them to observe. Next, we will head east to the Morning Dew. The Morning Dew? That's a dark pun. I need to speak with some observers there. Why is it called the Morning Dew? Is it like a graveyard or something? So we're here at the Morning Dew, which is Have a nice canopy. You're making a goo boy! Oh, the best boy, a goo boy. Okay. Medion. It's adorable, but beware its knees. Hermes went flying once. It is a... Oh my god, it's so cute. Let me rub its belly and avoid its moldy sneeze. Hythlodaeus. Ah, this fellow has been the talk of the Bureau. The combination of a carefree aspect and endless rows of fangs is strangely charming. Agreed. I actually want... Oh my god, you know what'd be great? It is like a cat bed. You know those cat beds that are like a shark with their mouth open and the cat can like nest in the shark's mouth? Like a plush shark? I'd love that for like a goo boy lying down on its belly with its mouth open, where a cat could just kind of lie and go to sleep inside it. Emet-Selch. Was there a guiding theme or any method to the madness that is this random assortment of features? It's art. It comes together well. Hermes.
Amazing, is it not? The Ampelos, one of our newest
Ampelos.
subjects. So, how are we coming along?
It's perfect. Ship it. Hey, it's one of the Elpis flowers.
This place is Elpis. Those flowers. Elpis. Entelekis. Like me.
So Enteleki is someone who it was like an emotional telepath, I guess? Or empath, I guess that's called.
They are a product of Elpis, and so named for their birthplace.
I mean, everything is a product of Elpis, isn't it?
A happy accident, born of the hands of a former researcher who loved beautiful blossoms.
Do you know about it? You know it's about its properties.
Unique for how they change color, to reflect the emotional state of those nearby.
Right.
Though be it here or elsewhere, they are seldom seen in any hue save purest white.
Why is that? If they change to reflect the emotions of those around it. Is that what he said, of those around it? Yeah, of those nearby. So why are they not seen in anything but purest white? What does white signify?
Reflect the emotional state, you say? By what means do they achieve this?
In creation, there exists an energy wholly apart from ether, one driven by emotions.
We gotta tell Nadana. Or, yeah, I think it's Nadana was her name.
In like manner to how we manipulate ether, this flower is subject to the influence of said energy. Well, it has no will of its own. It is sensitive to the prevailing emotion in the vicinity, and reacts by altering its color and vibrancy.
Akasha?
Yep.
It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feeling.
She will be happy to have this confirmed. Not that she needs it confirmed. Well, so she theorized it, but she says that she doesn't really have any proof, and so this should definitely help at least. Or that it's not like a settled matter. I think that's where she ended up with it. An elephant, you say?
Akasha. Though I'm not familiar with the term, your description suggests it is the self-same energy. Dynamis, we call it.
That's an interesting name. Specifically because that was the name of a major like gameplay zone mechanic in Final Fantasy XI, if I remember correctly.
And those entities like the Elpis flower that have the ability to interact with this energy, converting emotions into tangible phenomena, are Antelekis.
Hold on.
That's me!
Oh, I didn't mean to
That
cut you
are,
off,
my
sorry.
dear. And no ordinary one at that, but the first possessed of free will.
Those entities like the Elpis flower that have the ability to interact with this energy, converting emotions into tangible phenomenon. So the flower converts emotion into color, and Medion converts emotion into like thought and speech and that sort of thing.
Wait. A form of energy other than ether? Dynamis?
You sound almost offended at
I've
that.
never heard of such a thing.
Hardly surprising. Dynamis cannot be seen, much less felt. And though its existence has long been theorized, we had no proof until the flower's serendipitous creation.
Huh. So even it keeps hitting me that even though this is a progenitor race, it's not like the ancient ones were gods. I mean, they're basically just old and smart and long-lived. They're not and powerful, but they're not. It's not like the universe was without form and void, except for the ancient ones, and then they brought all this stuff into being. It's more like they're just in nature trying to discover it, same as we are. It's just a difference of scale and power. They're not gods. We knew that, but still.
Dynamis is far weaker than ether. Under normal circumstances, its effects are drowned out by the latter.
So is that why the flowers are usually white? That even though the Elpis flowers are, even though there are emotions in the nearby vicinity, usually those emotions are just drowned out except under the right circumstances?
On account of which, beings comprised of and reliant upon the ether, like you and I, are unable to make practical use of Dynamis.
Beings comprised of and reliant upon ether, unable to make use of it. So beings that are not comprised of and not reliant on ether can make use of it. So does that mean that Medion is not comprised of ether and not reliant upon ether?
'Tis a truly esoteric thing, known to but a select few scholars.
Intriguing. Then, given the limitations you described, why create Meteon?
Our star, Aetheris, is especially rich in ether, so much so that its name is derived from it. However, when we consider all energy in existence here and in the vast space beyond, Dynamis may account for as much as 68.3%.
That feels like a made-up statistic. You said that you have trouble, that it's barely theorized. How can you calculate the percentage of that you barely know it exists? That you're just guessing, you're just not guessing, you're theorizing that it exists. How can you theorize the percentage of 68.3%?
The more abundant form by far. Were we able to control it, we could open the door to limitless possibilities.
And how do you, I mean, again, if it's just theorized, how do you know it's so abundant? How did you figure that out?
'Tis not unlike a gently flowing stream, unable to break through the dam of ether barring its path. But if we could imbue the stream with the vigor of a raging river...
It's a gigantic power source.
Not that I have such grand ambitions. Nay. I merely wish to create a being that could traverse the great expanse.
You want to create a being that could traverse the great expanse. There's a couple of things that are coming to mind. One is, at this point in time, The star Aetheris is separate. No, never mind. I was going to say, is she like a proto-dragon? Like with the wings and everything? But because I'm thinking of like if she's Midgardsormr's grandmom or something like that. But no, Midgardsormr, because Midgardsormr's star was not on Aetheris. Midgardsormr and that whole star that we briefly saw in like recreated in Omega in the third to last Omega fight. That was a totally different world. So that's kind of doing its own thing at this point in time. We don't know, I don't think, of anyone that's traversed the great expanse beyond Greg who originated from this star, do we? I mean, beyond the Asians.
The relative scarcity of ether beyond the bounds of this star was a concern. And so, I looked to another source of energy by necessity.
My mind is just racing with questions right now. Sorry if I'm coming off as not super
That being Dynamis.
coherent.
No wonder her ether is so thin.
Precisely.
So maybe when we look at the people in our current world who are turning into blasphemies, I mean, they're overwhelmed by emotion, and we know that their ether is disappearing, is blinking out to the point where they're basically invisible to the likes of Ishtola. Maybe the reason that they're able to function at all is because they're running on pure Dynamis at this point. That would make sense. I mean, they're pure emotion, they're pure despair.
Yours is thin too. Like an entelechy. Like me. So, are we the same? Entelecchies.
We are not. Sure, I don't see why I couldn't be one. Wait, I have been known to transcend my limits with nothing but determination. If I'm thin, it's because Emet-Selch didn't do a proper job. I'm going to go with the middle one. I don't feel like sassing Emet-Selch at the moment. I feel like this might actually get some answers. I know it's kind of jokey, like, well, you know, I can't use the power of emotions, but I can use the power of friendship. But like, there is something to this. Like limit breaks, we know are an actual thing in the world, not just a gameplay mechanic.
That sounds more akin to the desperate flailings of a wild beast when facing imminent death.
That's actually pretty fair.
A deficit of ether alone does not an entelechy make. It would, however, make it easier for you to interact with Dynamis. And limited though its influence may be, this quality could prove the difference between victory and defeat. You do well not to underestimate it.
I will not. Hungry?
Oh dear. I'd forgotten about the poor fellow. You must excuse me a moment while I go and verify a few more things.
Okay, go give him some supper. Feed him a chicken. A proto-chicken. Whew. This is a fascinating quest line. Alright, Hythlodaeus. Never before had I heard of Dynamis or entelechies. I can only assume the Elpis flower was submitted to the Bureau before I joined. I guess. Assuming it was submitted at all. Medion. Entelechy or no, we're friends. In thinness. Yes, we're both thin in spirit. Hermes. All appears to be well. This shouldn't take long. Can I pet the goo boy? No, I can't. I don't remember what its Greek name is, but it's a goo boy. Emet-Selch. Their greatest contribution. Emet-Selch appears to be deep in thought. Not that I or anyone else would be able to make use of it even if we knew. But it irks me to discover that there is an entirely different form of energy, and no one told me. That personal annoyance aside, Hermes' knowledge is undeniably impressive. Also interesting that... I don't know that there's something I can do with this knowledge, but throughout Shadowbringers, that means the Emet-Selch we knew about Dynamis. I don't know what to make of that. It's not like that came up directly in any way that we know of yet, but he had that knowledge of that totally separate form of power through that whole expansion, for whatever that's worth. That personal annoyance aside, Hermes' knowledge is undeniably impressive. Given that there are none among the 14 who specialize in the Celestial, he would be a welcome addition. Assuming he can be persuaded to join, that is, I still can't understand his hesitation. Yeah, what do you specialize in? Oh, you wish to know why... Oh, this is Hythlodaeus. Oh, you wish to know why Emet-Selch was chosen for the convocation? I should be glad to share the tale. Ahem. It began when... Oh shit, he's gonna get... Not another word. Oh no. This is super secret. Lest you've forgotten, we're here to learn about Hermes. Oh, did you see Hythlodaeus doing the frustrated kicking the dirt? That was great. We're here to learn about Hermes, not me. My misspent youth is not your concern. So something in your youth led you to... was your specialization? Interesting. Hythlodaeus, I'll tell you the tale when we're away from sensitive ears. You fucking better. Emet-Selch. What now? I want to learn about the convocation. If you would accompany us, I suppose you should at least know that much. The Convocation of 14 is a governing body that determines myriad policies. Our goal is to ensure that all is right in creation, that our star may know a brighter future. As the name suggests, the Council is comprised of 14 offices, each of which is held by an individual chosen for their surpassing abilities. Depending on the office, one is required to either be an authority in a certain field, or possess skills that would facilitate the performance of their stipulated duties. The former category includes Metron, specialist in aquatic life. Logriff, oh god, I hope we see Logriff. On the other hand, Logriff wasn't one of the... Gaia wasn't one of the Unsundered, so this would be a different incarnation of Logriff. Specialist in terrestrial life and husbandry. Halmarut. Specialist in fungal and plant life. Emerololf, specialist in medicine and healing. And La Habrea, specialist in creation magics, who has brought forth phantom beings of the highest complexity. As for the latter category, there is Ultima, advocate of the arts, Igiorm, champion of enlightenment and rhetoric, Pashtarot, preserver of discipline and order, Emet-Selch, keeper of the ethereal realm, or underworld in the vernacular. Of course, Hades. Of course, Hades would be the keeper of the ethereal realm. So what did he... So I'm just making one more connection, that Emet-Selch dove into the life stream to yoink a naked cat girl out of it. So is that something... Was that related to his youthful activities? Did he lose someone and then go basically have a limit break where he went into the life stream and picked them out of it and saved them? That would actually make sense. Fandaniel, pursuer of extant phenomena, and Azem, traveler of the world and counselor to the people. I'm familiar with Azem intimately. What? Should I be revealing such details to you? Don't be silly. Even children know this much, and you would do well to remember it all. Yeah, nothing super secret there, but you are the underworld person, or the ethereal... What did you say? The ethereal? Keeper of the ethereal realm. Most of those people I hadn't heard of, but... God, this is so cool. Medion. Intellect... Oh, yeah. Alright, Hermes. My apologies for the wait. I have inspected the Ampelos to my satisfaction. All is well with the creature, and I dare say it won't be long ere it is released unto the world. Another creation, however, reportedly isn't faring so well. The Charybdis. That is what we shall tend to next. If you would follow me, my friends, we shall return to the main isle and head north. The Charybdis. Charybdis is like a sea monster, right? Like a multi-headed sea monster, or am I mixing things up? What is it, Mr. Cat? Oh, hey, it's some Wamura. I think those are Wamura, right? Those are Charybdises? Charybdi? Charybdia? Troubled medium. Troubled medium. Why is this one blue and shiny? Like you. Troubled observer. Wah! Oh, forgive me. I thought another member of the convocation had come. They did. This is turning out to be an eventful day. Hythlodaeus. There is a slight difference in the etheric balance between these Charybdises. By this, it may be assumed that they aren't the original creations, but their offspring. So you got, this is the parent and these are the kids? Maybe. Emet-Selch. A serpentine bird or a winged snake? Yeah, it could be either. Hermes. I understand there is a problem with one of the Charybdis. Troubled observer. Yes, that's right. As you know, the Charybdis is based on a sea creature. Owing to adjustments to enhance its affinity to wind, it is capable of flight. The specimens created from the concept could all fly without issue, but a problem arose in subsequent generations. This third-generation creature was born with an etheric balance leaning strongly towards water, its aquatic origin reasserting itself, it would seem. The result being affinity to wind is diminished and it cannot fly. Really? I'm looking at it right now. It seems pretty flighty. No matter what we try, we can't get it to rise even the slightest bit, he says as it flies in front of him. For such change to manifest in so few generations, I fear they are too unstable, flawed. With your permission, I will revert the creatures and recommend to the Bureau that the concept be revised. Hermes. With its etheric balance leaning towards water, the Charybdis would indeed struggle to manipulate wind. Yet it is too early to conclude that it cannot fly. Having failed at first, it may simply have developed a fear. I shall transform and fly with it, helping it to manipulate wind until it finds its wings. You are really invested in this. Troubled observer. What? You needn't go to such lengths. Quizzical Kakushu is quizzical. Emet-Selch. You don't know. You don't know, but of course not. You don't know we can transform. Transformation is an art in which one manipulates a vast quantity of ether to construct another body around oneself. In practice, this allows one to assume any conceivable form and thus transcend the limits of one's flesh. Yet convenient though it may be, transforming in the presence of others is considered vainglorious in the extreme, as uncouth and unseemly as running around robeless. Shameful. Am I to understand you make a habit of this? How could you not? If you could transform, how would you not? Like, sure you can go robeless, but you're always the same person underneath the robe. This is like going robeless and being able to become like, I don't know, an ostrich or a pancake or something. Hermes, nothing of the sort. It's just that when transformed I can wield the wind and fly. It may seem excessive, but what is our shame next to the lives of these creatures? They deserve a chance, and we owe it to them to do all in our power. It's very empathetic, even if he's not whatever that term was. Emet-Selch, be that as it may. Hythlodaeus. You can help out? Yes, I believe I have a solution, Emet-Selch. Emet-Selch, may I trouble you to move that Charybdis away from its fellows, somewhere out of sight? Are you going to impersonate its kid? How are you going to move it? Meanwhile, I'd like the rest of you to help me to prepare here. Emet-Selch, what mischief are you scheming now? Hythlodaeus, no mischief, I assure you, but I would but spare you the need to report to your colleagues that Hermes committed an indiscretion. Oh, that's what you're doing. So have a little faith and run along. Out of sight, out of mind. Or out of sight, out of the official report, at least. I mean, it's not immoral. They're just saying it's a little unusual. No, they're saying it's more than unusual. They're saying it's like bad form. It's bad manners. Rude in some way, almost. Emet-Selch, I trust you don't mind. Also, I was just kind of kidding about the whole look at him flying. I assume that that's just because they have the flight animation. I assume that it's basically slithering on the ground and kind of standing upright. Troubled Observer. Such bother when we could simply begin anew, but I shall defer to the Chief Overseer. Medion. We must help the Charybdis to fly, or else they will all die. Hermes. I mean, you could just pop it in the water, I guess, right? Like, you can let it evolve. It doesn't have to stay the thing that you initially planned it to be. Not that this is evolution in the sense that we know it, but it's, you could let it adapt. Hermes. Hythlodaeus is a man of ideas. I wonder what he has thought up this time. Yeah, so do I. Hythlodaeus. Emet-Selch is out of sight. Good. Let's speak of the plan. It's a stroke of genius, really. We have Emet-Selch train the Charybdis. What? Why would he agree to do that? It seems like a stroke of trolling more than a stroke of genius. Aside from being able to fly untransformed, he can readily see ether currents. And with his adept spellcraft, he can also employ suitable wind magics to guide the creature along. While he is indeed capable of all you... Oh, Hermes. While he is indeed capable of all you described, it is not his duty. I am loath to trouble him with it. Hythlodaeus. Don't be. As I mentioned, it would also be for his own sake. With that settled, let's begin at once. How would it be for his own sake? Like, for fun? Kokushu, I want you to go to Emet-Selch. Tell him that you have a favor to ask. He will be disinclined to cooperate at first, but you mustn't be discouraged. With our friend, the trick is to be unflaggingly persistent. Off you go now, and good luck. Thank you. With the chat mode... Okay, what do we have to say? A favor. I have a favor to ask. The bane of any PS4 questers. Having to type sentences in chat. Emet-Selch. Well, are your preparations for the scheme that is clearly not a scheme complete? Oh, right. I have a favor to ask. Oh, no, you don't. I'm not lifting a finger. I think you're going to lift fingers. Ugh, I don't know what Hythlodaeus is up to, and I will not be made to know. I refuse. If Hythlodaeus is to be believed, relentless insistence may serve to wear down the ever-weary Emet-Selch. With the okay, please Emet-Selch to plead. Okay. Okay, it didn't work the first couple times because I didn't use a comma. Emet-Selch puts a lot of value on commas in speech.
No, no, no. You are not foisting this nonsense on me.
Get foisted. That came out more aggressive than I intended.
I'm given to understand you have the power to help the Charybdis, and should be quite willing to do so. And so I appeal to your better nature, most benevolent Emet-Selch. Please teach it to fly.
Or else Hermes will transform. Right now.
It's basically saying Hermes is going to let it all hang out.
Quite that far. Altruism is its own reward, as I'm sure he would agree.
Oh, would he now? And who contrived to put me in this position, pray tell?
Yeah, Hythlodaeus knows you pretty well.
I merely suggested a possible course of action.
Emet-Selch. Please.
She's so cute. How could you say no to Medion?
I did not come all this way to play nursemaid to your creations. I'd thank you to remember this favor and let it be the last.
Yeah, Hythlodaeus was right. He knows you like a book. Or he read you like a book? Or he knows you like a book he's read a lot? I don't know. Holy shit, look at that mound. This has got to be a mount you can get in game somehow.
I will aid it once it is taken to the air. It falls to you to shepherd it skyward.
Well, let's relax and enjoy the spectacle, shall we?
Yeah, I'm just going to watch. Okay.
You were wondering why Emet-Selch joined the convocation.
Oh, yes, story time, yes.
Truth be told, he wasn't the first choice for the office. I was, on the strength of my ability to see ether.
However?
But I declined the offer. For though my vision is exceptional, I am pedestrian in all other aspects. Worse even.
But even so, aren't the convocation members supposed to be specialists rather than all-rounders?
Quite abysmal when it comes to manipulating ether, for example. Couldn't transform even if I had a mind to do so.
Oh, okay, so even within that specialty, he wasn't strong enough overall. Gotcha.
What good is the ability to perceive a problem if one cannot act to address it? Emet-Selch has no such shortcomings. He excels in vision and manipulation both.
Yeah, he does.
The latter to an extraordinary degree.
Yeah, you can say that again.
If there is a mage more powerful, I do not know of them. Thus did I recommend him for the office in my stead. And I wasn't the only one. Far from it. Countless others vouched for his skill and character.
And character.
People the world over, to whom he had previously lent a helping hand.
He was quite the altruist.
Oh, how surprised he was. Claimed he hadn't done anything remarkable for anyone. Modest to a fault.
So weird to get to see this side of him, this pre-tempered side.
He deserved every bit of acclaim he received. Yet he may well have gone unappreciated were it not for a mutual friend.
Is this going to be where Vana comes in? Because Vana's going to come in at some point in the very, very near future. She's got to.
A singular soul who can't help but involve herself in the business of others.
Oh, this is going to be
Where
Azem.
she walks, excitement is certain to follow.
Yeah, no, this is Azem.
Her antics irritate Emet-Selch to no end. But much of his grumbling stems from genuine concern. When our friend calls, he never fails to answer and lend his talents.
This just makes... It makes the whole of Shadowbringers even more poignant. And there's a lot of discussion these days about World of Warcraft specifically about whether the current expansion content is leeching off of prior expansions, is like bad in its own right and trying to grab onto trying to relate itself to other expansions to enhance itself, and almost, but again, like a leech, not like a parasite rather than a symbiote. And this case is one of those things where it's like, yes, it's where it's enhancing both this expansion and Shadowbringers with all this. Look at it fly.
In the course of doing so, he himself came to be recognized and respected by those around him. They are truly remarkable individuals, and I'm proud to call them friends. To help them realize their dreams. This will be my greatest contribution to our world.
Hythlodaeus, best boy. Clearly the best boy.
When they have fulfilled their respective purposes, so too shall I have fulfilled mine. And together we may return to the star.
That is both beautiful and bleak, but again, kind of beautiful. Like, extremely beautiful.
Look at me, spilling my innermost secrets. I can't seem to help it with you. I can only assume it is due to the color of your soul. I just don't understand how you can be so alike and yet so different.
How are we different? Like, physically?
Well done, my pet. Well done.
Oh, look at it.
Ah, yes. I dare say the Charybdis will be fine here on. Why don't you go and signal to Emet-Selch? Let him know that his arduous task is at an end.
So the ether was still attuned to wind, or attuned to water, attuned to wind, as they hoped, and it really was just a temporary fear. Just beautiful. Just everything about this is really quite lovely. Medion. Look, Kushu! Look how well the Charybdis flies! Yeah, it's doing pretty well. It also it looks like it has a really scritchable neck. Hermes. It's flying. It's really flying as if it were born to do so, thank goodness. Yeah, I just need a little training. How do I talk to Emet-Selch? Oh, wave. Where's Emet-Selch? How do I target Emet-Selch? Maybe I just have to wave from here at nothing? Yeah. Emerging from his reverie, Emet-Selch notices you and begins to descend with the Charybdis. He was in a reverie. He was really into this. Hermes. I have no words to express my gratitude. Thanks to you, the Charybdis has learned to fly. Look at its happy little face. I know its face doesn't change, but still. Hythlodaeus. And Kakushu and I could relax and have a pleasant chat where I basically showed your baby pictures to her. Emet-Selch, I'm sure you did. The creature needed some small assistance at first, but soon it was flying more or less on its own. I doubt you will need to repeat the lesson. Troubled Observer. That was truly impressive. Yeah, nice job, Emmett. Troubled Observer. I witnessed it all from afar. The Charybdis flies. Hermes. Indeed. With this, we've proven that even a creature with skewed etheric balance is capable of flight. Though we helped it to achieve this, the Charybdis is a herd animal. They may well aid their struggling kin in like fashion if and when the need arises. Keeping this in mind, I bid you continue observing them. Troubled Observer, if that is what you want. Troubled Observer was like getting ready for, getting his dinner plate ready for some Charybdis steaks. He's a little bit disappointed. But if I may say so, rather than hoping for an idealistic possibility comes to pass, would it not be simpler to have the concept adjusted? That way we could guarantee that anomalies such as this specimen are never born in the first place. Or alternatively, you could just allow them to be anomalies and be okay with that. I don't see what the problem of it kind of reverting to an earlier state is. Hermes. These creatures are already here. We will spare no effort in giving them a chance to survive. Yeah, once they're out of the metaphorical womb, or the literal womb, I don't know how they're born. I guess once they're popped into existence, you have kind of an obligation to them. Troubled observer. As you wish, Chief. As you wish. I also feel like this is setting up... Again, this seems like it's setting up what I assume will eventually come back to bite Hermes in terms of, like, maybe fighting to keep things alive that shouldn't be alive. Like the Marlboro. Medion. Hermes. Hermes. It just hit me that he's also probably thinking about Fandaniel. About the current Fandaniel in this timeline. I'm fine, don't worry. Well, that concludes all of my present tasks. Let us return to Ananoresis for now. Okay. Medion. All the creations are happy. That makes me happy too. Hermes. Whoop. Nope. Medion again. Hermes. Now you've seen what I do. Was it everything you were expecting? No. You were way more empathetic than I was expecting. Way more... Again, empathetic is a very technical term in this context, in this world, but you were invested in the living creatures more than I was expecting. Hythlodeus. And even though Amon was a different person from Hermes, Amon was still a piece of Hermes' soul. So there's got to be shades of Amon, of like almost a bored sadistic side of Hermes that's lurking, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's not fair. Maybe I'm underselling Amon. Hythlodeus. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. At the end, most of all. Emet-Selch. What? Want to apologize for forcing me to help, do you? Save your breath. You didn't force me to do anything. I merely chose the most expeditious way to have done with an impediment to our business. Yeah, it was all you. You're such a big boy. You made all your decisions by yourself. Okay, that's going to be it for me for now. Next time, we got Touring Ananoresis Part 1. We got another barrage of side quests for this area. We'll check that out next time. Thanks for watching. I will see you all later. Oh, I didn't even do a minion of the day. Let's do that before we end up. Minion of the day is, oh my god, Final Fantasy VI Pupper Gestalt. Gestalt. Despite being found lapping up day-old vomit behind the Forgotten Knight, the air of nobility displayed by this pup as he rolled in the filth was proof enough of his royal bloodline. And before the night was through, an official pedigree was drawn up, changing Gestalt's life forever. The noblest puppy who is the... For anyone who doesn't play Final Fantasy VI, Gestalt was the tyrant of the Magitech, of the Gestalian Empire, I think it was just called. Who was killed by Kefka. Nothing shall stand in our way, Emperor Gestalt. That was him as he was, that was like what he, in this world, that was what he said as like someone was trying to stop him from lapping up vomit in the back of the Forgotten Knight. Anyway, that's going to be it for me for now. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.